Hello for the third time. So, you have made it through setting up your NoodleTools project, sharing it with Miss Jones, Miss Hill, and Miss Lou, and also finding resources. That should have taken quite a bit of time to kind of read through, bookmark, and save some resources. So, I'm at this point where maybe I've read this article. See the one on empathy. Here we go. And I really enjoyed this, and it's helping me kind of decide that how I want to steer some of my research. I know I want to, as I talk about the benefits of video games, I want my audience to understand how it's not just about competition or maybe even violence at times, but you can also learn really powerful lessons through video games. So I thought this was such a great article, and I'm really happy to have been able to read this one. I know I'm going to want to come back to this, and I know I'm going to want to share this in my message that and kind of summary of my learning for Plex. So I thought this one was so great. I want to keep track of this, and I want to give credit to where I learned this information. I don't want to just act like this is something that I figured out on my own. I need to give credit to where I learned this from. So on Noodle Tools, I'm going to open up my Plex project. Okay, so this is my personal project over here. And I see this little blue stack of books. So it's like you're gathering your sources. Okay, so I'm going to click on sources. Right now I have 0. Okay, and I'm going to put this Newsela article in um, my sources list, and that way I'll have it forever as long as I'm doing this project. So I'm going to type new source in the green button over here because I've got nothing so far. So let's say new source, and I'm trying to think, where did I find this from? Okay, so NewsALA is in a way a database, but it's more of a website for sharing these articles. So it's a web page. It's not a book. It's not a magazine. It's not a photo. It's not that reference source like we showed you here, which would have been some of these end resources. So I'm going to go back to my Noodle Tools, and it's really more of a web page. Okay. All right. Once I've chosen that as my source, it's telling me that I am citing a website. Great. So Noodle Tools tells you everything you need to input for your citation. So we just have to fill out kind of like this little form, and then everything's done. So first of all, I need the URL because I'm taking this from a website. So I'm going to highlight the URL, and I just copied. So on my computer, Command C. I'm going back to Noodle Tools. Okay, and I'm just going to Command V, and that pastes. Okay, so there it is. The date of publication. Well, I need to check the article for that. Okay, so let's see if we can see when this, here we go, 3/26/2021. So it's not too old. All right, so third month, March 26th, scroll down, 2021. All right. Now, the most recent date that I access this information is today. So I'm just going to choose today's date. All right. So here's a part where I need to start paying attention. So who are the contributors? The tricky thing about Noodle Tools, or sorry, NewsELA, is that they often take an article from a larger organization or some other organization. Like in this case, it was a newspaper, USA Today newspaper, and they adapt it for students. So they're recommending this for upper elementary, middle school, so kids your age. So I am going to think about how this was written by USA Today and edited by the News ELA staff. So I can say the author. Now, I don't know a specific author's name. I would have to go find out which article they took from USA Today and then adapted. But in this case, I can just put USA Today. Okay. And then I'm going to add another contributor here because it's a bit tricky. As an editor, I'm going to put News ELA. There we go. All right. So I've covered now. Sometimes there might be an article where I do specifically know the first and last name of the author or the editor. Okay. In this case, I just don't, and that's okay. So the web page or document title. So I'm going to go back to News 8. What is this one called? Ooh, it's quite long. Coming wave of video games could build empathy on racism and environment. All right, so let me save that title. I just copied it, highlighted and copied, and I'm just going to paste it here. Okay, so it kind of gives me a suggestion. The first letter of the words listed here will most likely be capitalized. They were not on News ELA, but that's okay. So we know that we have some important words we can capitalize here. Um, so I would say coming wave of video games could, all these are important words, build empathy, racism. Whoops, scroll over. This is not something we'll necessarily have to do every time. Often the titles do have the appropriate capitalized. There we go. So now it's happy with what we've done. Oops, I didn't mean to click that, but sometimes it might be untitled if you find something. Okay, so the name of the website. So let's think about this, and let's think about it's just News ELA, and then the next box that it had was the publisher. And in this case, it's probably going to be News ELA as well. But sometimes you'll see something and it's owned by another company. So let's see. That's ads. Let's see if we can find the homepage and see if we can find. I've already bookmarked this one, so I can come back to it if need be. See if we can find any information. Usually it'll be at the bottom of the page. Uh, let's see. I don't want to look at the ads part. Let's click on that and see what pops up. Sometimes you'll see that it says about us or, all right. Um, you could read a lot in here, but I'm pretty sure News ELA is just the organization is News ELA. We'll go with that for now. I know a lot of us might be using News ELA when we are working. So if that is the case, Miss Jones will do some more research in finding this information and then I'll share it with all of you guys. So for now, let's just go ahead and say that News ELA is the publisher. All right. And I'm going to save that. Okay. Don't worry about the annotation right now. So we'll save this. And that will make sure that this article, whoops, the one I had before, is always available. And I don't forget that I really liked this one. Because there might be a week in there where we have Plex on a Wednesday and then we don't do it for another Wednesday. And then you're mad at yourself going, where was that article that I liked so much? And also on your laptops, you tend to work on them each day. And some of you take them at home and work on them for other things. And you can easily lose track of your sources. So now you can see I have under my source, uh, it says it's from USA Today, but Coming Wave of Video Games Could Build Empathy on Racism Environment, edited by News ELA, March 26, 2021, then the URL, and then the date I accessed it. I don't have any note cards yet. We'll get to that soon, but we now have that website saved as a source. So if I go back to my project, I can see, once it opens up, that I will have at least one source in my project. And that's it for now. That's all we want you to do. You've already read through and kind of searched for so many research sites through the Padlet this morning that now it's time to really sit down and focus on putting it into your project. So if mine ever catches up, we'll see that, there we go. Give it just another minute. And then you'll see that, oh, look, I have one source. So you can go ahead and start adding your sources that you know for sure you're going to use. Okay. So go ahead and start adding your sources now.